Thank you, Mr. Gandhi. Now it's time to present to you Prometheus Global. Prometheus Global is a boutique global wealth management firm which supports its clients to build a global portfolio. They are also involved in fundraising activities for Indian startups and enable them with global marketers access. I request the founder of Prometheus to come on stage and explain his vision with helping MSME and startups in Aurangabad.
Thank you. Firstly, it's indeed a pleasure to be here, and I'm deeply honored to be part of such an initiative and standing in front of such budding entrepreneurs and guys with great ideas today. Okay, let me start something with a question to you, and probably, does anyone know which is the longest and the oldest running business in the world? I'll repeat. Which is the longest or the oldest running business in the world? Any guesses? No. 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 I'm talking of the company, it's not of the trade perspective, which is, okay, so before you guys go on the Google and do that, let me tell you. So this company is from Japan. The sector is construction. The company's name is Congo Gumi. Okay. Imagine the number of years they've been in existence. 1,400 years plus, 1,400 years plus. They've seen 52 generations running the business. Now imagine, and there's a second one also, which is from Japan, which is an hotel industry, a company called Hushi Koyon, running for more than 1,300 years, and they're seeing the 46th generation. Now imagine a state of an entrepreneur, the person who founded, had he ever thought that he would have a business running for so many years and generations? Today, if you see the statistics, the businesses don't run more than 40 years. Maximum, they can go to third generation. So what's important as an entrepreneur to really see that, as in the morning sessions they've been talked, but there's one important point that I thought, and which quite important to reiterate, is to focus on the need and then solving the need or the problem. Because if you're solving that, that would remain. So what actually made this, I was thinking, what actually made these companies run for so many years? Probably I could jot down some of my thoughts to it. It could be the inherent business values which they have kept intact, and they had passed it on to their generations. The systematic approach. This is something very important, that right at the early stage, if a systematic approach gets inbuilt into a business or an entrepreneurial thought process, it can go on. Maybe an institutional framework on a larger level which supports the country and the whole larger objective. And most important, which is quite relevant in today's time, where we talk of disruption and change, is that they've been changing with the time. And they've been not redundant with a particular thought or stick to a particular thought which they could have perished. And obviously a very strong succession planning in place to it. So I think this actually, in toto gives that this is how you can create a business of legacy. Though we are talking here of budding entrepreneurs starting up something, but it has to see through and see the legacies as well. Anyone knows which is the longest, which is the oldest Indian business? No? It's Wadia Group. established in 1736, which is almost 282 years for them now. Okay, moving on. So why do you feel that businesses fail? They grow as you move on. If you lose touch with the customer and if you don't have a proper feedback system, obviously that's where they fail. They are not able to differentiate themselves clearly with the competition and create a proposition for themselves in the mind of their customers. They fail to communicate the values clearly and concisely to the clients or to their relevant stakeholders. Leadership breakdowns, the inability to really sustain over for years. And so these were what they have thought. But I think in every failing, whenever anyone fails, it's an opportunity to learn. And as I'm a budding entrepreneur as well, I'm the first generation entrepreneur in my family. This is my second venture. So I feel the most important aspect as an entrepreneur is you should learn to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So if you can get this, and if you can tune yourself to learn and unlearn, which is still difficult as you grow up, but you have to relearn that, new things, and you should be open to that. So if an entrepreneur has this inherent mindset with it, I think he'll survive, and his business will survive. True. What actually sets an entrepreneur apart is the most important is the passion and the motivation that he has. If that's missing, or if there's any blocker on that, I think the entrepreneur will not survive. Being not afraid to take risk, ability, adaptability, flexibility, the domain knowledge that they are into. Obviously, money management is what they have to learn if they don't come from a commerce background or a commercial side to it. Effective planning to it, and also self-questioning. They should keep self-questioning themselves and their business, that are they going the direct direction, and are they really solving the purpose for which they have been set for. Okay, so let me tell you a small story. When I started my first venture 11 years ago, and I was just out of my college, this was 2007, which was really, the mid-2007 was really a boom for the stock market era. And so I just came out, I said, I want to start this, and I did that. And during that period, my dad also took the VRS. So the point was that I had to, and he started supporting me. So we really went on good for 6 months to that. And then the 2008 crisis started happening to the world. Within that 6 months, I was then approached by a magazine to go up and give a small talk on what we are doing and how we are helping our customers. So I was on my way for that interview. And one of our largest investor called up and said, Pankaj, we are terminating the contract and we want to recoup our investments. So I was going for an interview where I had to go and talk all the good about what I have to do, and I have to show it the world is great, and have this dichotomy coming in and this information that I've lost my biggest investor or a client, to say. At that time, we were also talking about getting into collaboration. So I had in mind what would I say to my stakeholders, my dad, and all that. What I learned is that what that situation taught me is the power of equanimity. How to keep yourself calm, poised, when you have all the opposites coming to it, and still sail through it. So these are some typical points which actually, we all come through this. We'll have these situations every time. You'll feel low, but you have to go and do something which have to be very high and outspoken. So that's something that we should train ourselves to get into. when it comes to, I've been here since yesterday, and a big applaud to the whole team of Gienet, Professor Wadekar, the whole Mangesh, and really tirelessly working on getting this whole thing done. But rural entrepreneurship, as highlighted, will be the key for Aurangabad to it. And no doubt it has all the set infrastructure and all the support to become a powerhouse of India, to say. But how's entrepreneurship in rural shaping up in India? So in fact, I was traveling to my native, and I like to keep talking to these budding entrepreneurs, just understand what drives them. So there's a place called Mundi in Khandwa, in the Khandwa district in Madhya Pradesh. And there was this lady who used to sell garments. She used to go down to Mumbai, she used to go down to Surat, collect garments, come over and sell it to their But what happened is, because of the inventory processes and everything, she was getting a lot of problems, and she didn't have that cash flow with her. Just by learning how to use WhatsApp, she actually maximized her business 10 times, and without inventories. She used to just go over, take pictures, send it across to the group, and ask them what you want, and get orders prepaid to it. So that's something, this is how the technology, you don't have to teach them. You don't need big B schools or to really teach them how to market products and get to the customers, which comes inherently. One such typical story is with an entrepreneur, with a carpenter, who actually used to sell tabletops to it. And he used to get good orders to it, but from the far villages that he used to serve from. So I asked him, how do you really generate leads and market yourself? I said, nothing. What I do is, I get customer, I get the order, I get paid for the logistics, say 200 rupees or 400 rupees. What I say to the driver is to take the most circuitous route to go to that particular place. I pay him another 200 rupees. I put up a person from my team out there with a pamphlet and just tell him to take the most longest route to that particular place. Imagine what is he doing, and he says, this is what I want. While the product is going, people are seeing the product, what it is, they are seeing to whom it is going, and they are really experiencing it. So I don't have to market myself. This is what I do to generate leads and market. And he says, I generate 5 leads in every transaction that I do. That's commendable. I said, no, none of the B schools would teach you this, of these strategies. So, these all things come to you. So when you have that you have a passion and you are driving to it, solutions will come to you. So I think that's my learning out of the entrepreneurial setup in whatever I have been. Coming down to what Prometheus is and what we do is, so we are a boutique wealth management and a private client firm based out of Mumbai. The whole objective for us is to help entrepreneurs, help families create wealth, preserve the wealth, and also have a proper succession to it. So it's more about all aligning around wealth. Now that kind of wealth could be anything. We are not only confined to the money aspect of it. It could be collectibles. It could be your any other wealth that you feel is a wealth for you, and we can have solutions around it. So for us, the focus is purely global in that sense. So that's what our mandate is. That we think that I've been internationally all throughout my career. I've done business development, and I feel this is where we can help Aurangabad and this incubation center to really, along with all the connects that we can see if there's global funding required, global structuring required, global partnerships to be go out and leveraged over. So that's where Prometheus will come into picture. We are working very closely with Makran and the Gienet team, and now with the PS college here. So I wish all the very best to all the budding entrepreneurs here. And the only message that I would like to say is, be the change for the change that you want to be. Thank you.